your New York Football Giants, our New York Football Giants, put on a show on Sunday. They put on one hell of a show. First half was essentially just a repeat of week one. We looked like complete and utter dog shit from the get. And my nightmarish prediction of 0-17 looked like a reality. Looked like that was a real life nightmare, a waking nightmare, if you will. We made Josh Dobbs look like fucking Lamar Jackson, right? Peak Russell Wilson, maybe, back in the day. Josh Dobbs having himself a goddamn career game. Can't stop the run. James Conner is running footloose and fancy free with Kevin Bacon. We looked like crap. It looked like we had learned absolutely nothing from the first week debacle, and that this is life now. And you start to wonder, like, I guess Dable has lost the team officially. And that's what cost Ben McAdoo his job, is just not being in tune with the players and the clubhouse and just losing the belief, maybe? Is that what we're talking about here, right? Faith, belief, conviction. If these people can't believe in me, they won't believe in themselves. They won't believe in the cause. They won't believe in the game plan. They won't believe in the scheme. And that's exactly what it looked like in the first half. Was I shocked and surprised? Not shocked, not really surprised. Given given what I saw in week one, knowing that we're going to be without Andrew Thomas at left tackle, we have Josh Azudu, who's not a left tackle at left tackle. We also have Marcus McKeithen, a guy that hasn't played it down yet in the NFL at right guard, coming off a pretty nasty ACL or something like that last year. He did have a promising training camp, but so did Darian Beavers. And it's amazing what an injury can do to a career. Just ask David Wilson. And I was just like, yeah, this is just more of the same. It's like, I don't know how this can happen to a team that appears to be better on paper, as from a roster standpoint, is more talented than they were last year, and coming out and just playing flat. Like, it's week 2, guys. You're acting like it's week 16 and you're out of the playoffs, out of the playoff hunt. I don't know. I just, I remember going to get something to eat or ordering something to eat right when halftime, the final seconds of the first half are waning down. And the broadcaster, I forget who it was, just goes, just a nightmare situation for the Giants. It's like, man, we have broadcasters yelling, furious about just how poorly we are playing. What? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people thought this was a get right game. That some people were thinking that we should be able to handle them easily, and it's a cakewalk. And I'm saying to myself, I just don't think we have it figured out yet. And I don't know that we'll ever get it figured out. I mean, what's there to figure out? What was training camp for? What the fuck was all that for? What was the preseason for? So yeah, I mean, did I turn it off? No, because it was a 4:00 game. It wasn't a Sunday night game. Like I did last week. I stuck with it because I was like, let's just see how this plays out. Like, are we really going to lose 40-0, 30-something to nothing to the Cardinals? Like that, I was almost more entertained by that concept. Like, we're just gonna get. It's not just the Cowboys; it's the Cardinals now, who are. I mean, everyone and their mother was saying are actively tanking, like full on rebuild mode. But yet, I don't know. No one's telling the players that, because they gave the Commanders a run for their money, and now they put the fear of God in the Giants. So, my God, for a fact that there's a recording of Brian Dable at halftime, and it's probably electric. I can't imagine it being anything short of stellar. And it's going to be, if they do end up doing some kind of wild run this year, hopefully it goes. I think they would have to win the Super Bowl for them to include that speech in the championship DVD, quote unquote. I don't know if that's going to go in the yearbook, the video yearbook, if it's like we finish 7-10 and miss the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It feels like this is more of a Super Bowl or bust inclusion for the audio on that, because you can look back and laugh and be like, but you know, if anything short of a Super Bowl win, I don't think that ever sees the light of day. Maybe, I don't know, but there's got to be a recording. There's definitely a recording of it somewhere. So we're doing some historic shit. This team, worst blowout loss at home in 80 years in week 1, tied for the biggest comeback win in franchise history, biggest come from behind comeback win since 1949. I mean, we're seeing stuff that I don't think anyone alive has seen twice. Maybe that's maybe one or two people. And this team is just, it's fun. It'll be fun to see what kind of record that we tie or break or set in the Thursday night game. Feels like another one's coming down the pike. It's the second. This is the third comeback from 21 points. And it's the second against the Cardinals in the first in almost 74 years. So the first one, the last one was against the Chicago Cardinals in 1949. So on December 2nd, 1945, the Giants fell behind the Eagles at the Polo Grounds 21-0 before Arnie Herber caught 4 touchdown passes to give them the 28-21 triumph. Giants repeated the feat on October 30th, 1949 against the Chicago Cardinals playing in Comiskey Park. Giants were in a 28-7 hole at halftime before surging to a 41-38 win. We have now improved to 52-42-5 in road openers, proving once again that MetLife needs to burn to the ground. 52 victories trail only the Green Bay Packers all time, who have 58. Giants gained 439 yards, the second highest total of the Brian Daboll era, and the most they've had in a victory. We totaled 445 yards against the Vikings on Christmas Eve last year, a game that gave a lot of Giants fans, myself included, a lot of hope for the playoffs. The 321 net passing yards were also the second most they've had and their highest total in a victory under Daboll. We threw for 324 yards last November 20th in a loss to Detroit. And that was when we were playing from behind for most of the game. That was the game Wan'Dale Robinson had a bit of a breakout and then was lost for the year. A really devastating loss that I believe it was either the beginning of or in the midst of Detroit's resurgence into becoming the juggernaut that they are today. This is the first time the Giants shut out in the first 6 quarters of a season since 1934, when they were shut out for the first 7 quarters. And it should be noted that in 1934, that same season, the Giants won the NFL championship against those same Chicago Bears in the famous sneakers game. So will history repeat itself? So far, that's been the theme of the 2023 season. History repeating itself. Worst blowout loss at home in 80 years. Biggest come from behind victory in 70 some odd years. So why not do what they did back in the 30s and 40s? Get ourselves a goddamn championship. We're the first team to surrender at least 60 points in a season before scoring since the 78 Baltimore Colts. And I'm going to look up real quick how they finished. If only I knew how to type. Because I think that the 78 Baltimore Colts, if I'm not mistaken, no, they went 5-11. What year was I thinking of? Maybe it was the year before. So yeah, they went 5-11. Was it 77 they were in the Super Bowl? Lost divisional round. Jesus. 74, 73, 72, 71. Lost the conference championship, Dolphins. Oh, okay, fine. Well, yeah, 5-11. Those 78 Baltimore Colts. So, inauspicious start to the season. And then shit done changed in the locker room. And hopefully it sees the light of day. Giants allowed the first 20-plus points in consecutive games for the first time since December 8th to 17th, 2013, and lost to San Diego and Seattle. So again, you can see why I was leaning towards 0-17 or something to that effect for the season, just because it's very reminiscent of what we saw in 2017 and 2013, 2 of the worst seasons that we've had in the past decade or so. There's a lot of similarities to seasons that did not go well. Even Saquon getting hurt at the end of this game. It's like the years he gets hurt, tough to swallow. Jones improved to 8-1-1 in his last 10 games following a loss. So again, resilience, key to any good quarterback, great quarterback. Jalen Hyatt's 58-yard catch and run was the longest by a Giants rookie since Paul Perkins had a 67-yard catch and run in Minnesota in 2016. That was the longest first career reception by a Giants player since that Paul Perkins snag and run. And Hyatt had the longest reception by a Giants rookie wide receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. had a 63-yarder versus the Eagles on around Christmas 2014. Yeah, Paul Perkins, man. I thought that was going to be our back for like the next at least 5 years. Just, there was, I think there might have been comparisons to Tiki in the draft when they drafted him, when I was a blogger, when I blogged. I was like, oh, this is Tiki Barber 2.0, who played 10 years and a franchise leader in rushing yards. So I really thought that catch and grab, and Perkins came on real strong towards the end of the season and became the Giants' X factor as they moved away from what's his face? Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about. Did that weird touchdown dance. Rashad Jennings. Jesus. So yeah, I'm hoping Jalen Hyatt has a more successful career than Paul Perkins did. Paul Perkins fucked up some kind of body part that did not allow him to get back to what he used to be, which is really unfortunate because I really liked how he ran and definitely infused some life into that 2016 team down the stretch. Whereas I like listed him as the X factor, most important player in that wild card game against the Packers, and we just got smoked. So hopefully Jalen Hyatt, from all looks, it appears that he's just going to be someone that opposing defenses have to account for. It was that 58-yard catch and run. No one was near him. Good throw by DJ, but if he's able to catch him in stride, he gone. So that is really cool to see that we have a deep threat, and Darius Slayton also a deep threat. I think the combo of those two, it's what we talked about heading into the season. Just visions of grandeur of seeing both Darius and Jalen just stretch defenses thin, and then I'll open up everything to Waller and the like underneath. So, and that's what sprung the offense in the second half. Huge play, big play, a lot of explosive plays in the second half, which we'll get to. But that was the one that kind of swung the momentum. Giants broke a 4-game losing streak to the Cardinals and beat Arizona for the first time since 2011. That game also required a Giants comeback. We trailed 27-17 with under 4 minutes remaining in the fourth before Eli threw 2 touchdown passes in a 58-second span to win 31-27. So, as much as the first 6 quarters were reminiscent of seasons that ended really horribly, the fact that this also mirrors a come-from-behind win from 2011, a Super Bowl season, then, that's why I think that my 1% sliver, from last week, I said I had a 1% sliver. It's like a 5% sliver now, I don't know that that's going to increase anymore after this 49ers game. I foresee, it's going to be ugly. What's not ugly, though, is our secondary, which I think a lot of people might have underestimated. I know that I gave them a fair amount of shine and flowers and whatnot. My prediction was that I think they were going to be the second best unit behind the defensive line. And I'm going to go on a limb and say they are the best unit so far through 2 games, through 2 weeks. Deonte Banks, big part of that. Through 2 weeks, opposing quarterbacks are completing 42.9% of their passes when targeted. When Deonte Banks is targeted, he's allowed 30 yards and a pass rating of 55.7. I don't know that you can ask much more of that. Again, Cowboys, you might have a hater say the Cowboys weren't throwing the ball because they didn't have to. They were up so big. I get it. You could say we're playing the Cardinals. Cardinals suck. I get it. I don't know. I just I think that our secondary certainly came up big against the Cardinals in the second half, and I think they can at least try and keep us in the game against San Francisco. Starting safety Jason Pinnock, another member of the secondary. 13 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 4 defensive stops. Oh, brother. So Jason Pinnock, who we just claimed off waivers, we just found him on waivers, is playing really well. Some would say better than Xavier McKinney, who got absolutely truck-sticked by Josh Dobbs en route to his touchdown, that long touchdown run. Xavier McKinney is now, there's what this is his contract is up after 22, 23, maybe next year. So I think there are a lot of people who want to see more out of him because he's not really jumping off the screen. Injury history, avoidable injury history. He's trending in a direction that makes me think he's not going to be a Giant. A lot could change. Long season, but so far Jason Pinnock has looked much better than Xavier McKinney. The 5 best Giants, according to PFF grades for week 2, Daniel Jones with a 92.5, much deserved. We'll get into a lot of his cool stats in a little bit. Jalen Hyatt with an 89.9, Dexter Lawrence with an 86.5, Isaiah Simmons with an 86.4, and Trey Hawkins with a 78.4. So the 2 rookie corners are pretty much holding their own. You got new acquisition Isaiah Simmons looking better and better, and maybe he should take on a larger role in the defense, which I agree with. Dexter Lawrence being Dexter Lawrence. Great to see his consistency. He's just not getting a whole lot of help on the defensive line. We mentioned explosive plays. There were 4 pass plays of 25 yards or more, 6 pass plays of 15 yards or more, 3 plays of 15 yards or more from Slayton, 1 20-yard play from Waller, 2 plays of 30-plus from Hyatt, 5 runs of 10-plus yards. Of the 5, 3 were from Jones and 2 were from Barkley. So, that's going to be key. And it's going to be necessary and required for this team because I don't know that we're going to do there's not going to be a lot of repeats of last year. We can just it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to run the ball like we did last year and just eat away at the clock and at teams. Doesn't seem like that's the case this year, but I don't know. So Daniel Jones had the highest PFF grade, and it's easy to understand why. No other quarterback in NFL history has ever done what Daniel Jones did in the second half of the game against the Cardinals. He threw for 250 yards. More than 250 yards, rushed for more than 50 yards, threw multiple touchdown passes, rushed for a touchdown, and had no turnovers. Now, there's some weird stats being thrown around about not just the Giants, but also Daniel Jones. And a lot of those stats that are being tweeted out and sent out and shouted out it's hard to ignore because they all say in NFL history, no one has done what Daniel Jones is doing. And yeah, he missed a lot of plays, a lot of passes in that 40-0 shutout blowout loss. He missed a lot of open people, was off, and just wasn't what we've come to expect and hope for out of him. So, and I think the first quarter of this game, a little bit more of the same. And then something happened. And a lot of people seem to think that in addition to Dable maybe giving the halftime speech to end all halftime speeches, that maybe he also decided to call some plays in the second half, which, there was a marked difference, right? All the explosive plays coming to second half. Kafka maybe playing a little too conservative, knowing that there are some offensive line issues. And Dable's like, fuck it, dude. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, my man, right? So, and that would explain a lot. And I'm hoping he either is like gets in Kafka's grill and is like, listen, here's what I'm aiming for against these guys, which I assume he does every week. Or he should just take over play calling. It worked against Arizona. Maybe it'll work against San Francisco. But Daniel Jones, dude, he did it all without Andrew Thomas at left tackle. Josh Azudu did fairly well, considering he's not a left tackle. Marcus McKeithen was a day 3 pick, round 5, I think. As we mentioned, missed his entire rookie season. And Mark Lewinsky was benched, which a lot of people were calling for heading after last week's game and after a really abysmal 2022. But had to come in when Brederson got concussed, which is that's a blow to that offensive line, because it's like if you can keep Brederson in the game with McKeithen and JMS and hopefully Neal, whatever. There's now, do you want to now move Evan Neal into right guard and push Josh Azudu to right tackle? That's how bad Evan Neal is. But is that how good Azudu is? I don't know. Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slayton, we talked about stretching the offense. They averaged more than 30 yards per catch in the game against the Cardinals on 5 catches. So, and I swear, if Darius Slayton tucks in his t-shirt that's under his jersey, he probably scores on that one deep throw. He's like one of the only receivers I see who's always getting caught by his t-shirt. Tuck it in, my man. You be to the house. Speaking of JMS, he had 100% pass block win rate versus Arizona. I mean, we got this draft could be one of the best drafts in Giant. It's I don't want to say it already is, because but goddamn, man, if they all play out their entire careers with the Giants, that will be the draft that we look back on and we're like, holy fuck, dude. JMS starter looking real good. Dante Banks, starter, looking real good. Jalen Hyatt, not quite a starter, but a game changer playmaker, as we said he could be, and we hoped he would be. He is, dude. For sure. He is. At least once a game, we're taking a deep shot to him, and at least once a game, that has the potential to be a touchdown every time. Trey Hawkins, starter. What? Jordan Riley, fairly decent depth piece on the defensive line. Javarius Owens made the roster. I'm probably missing a bunch of guys, but holy shit, man. What a draft so far. Another insane stat. The Giants are just the 3rd team in NFL history to suffer a 40-plus point loss while also mounting a 20-plus point comeback in the same season. The 1949 Bulldogs and the 1987 Bears were the other two. So the 87 Bears, I don't think they were anything to sneeze at or cough at, as I just, I think, yeah, the 87 Bears went 11-4 under Ditka, 9th in the league in points, 4th in the league in points against, and they lost in the divisional round to the eventual Super Bowl champion Washington Skins of Red. Giants are the only team to have accomplished this feat during a 2-game span in NFL history. Ugh. A lot of people, media included, journalists, Big J journalists, are saying this was a season-saving win, and it's kind of hard to argue against that. Because you lose to a Cardinals team that is, as we said, not really putting their best foot forward, in terms of trying to win the game, and you start to, I don't know there's any coming back from that. I don't know that you can come back from that. Ew. So, yeah, maybe they got all the bad out their system in quarter 7, but, it's been one hell of a couple weeks. Did have some injuries, obviously. Barkley, why he was in the game, I just don't know. We're obviously in field goal range. With Gano's hurt ankle or whatever, you don't want to go too far back in terms of the game-winning field goal. So they do want to pick up positive yards, but at the same time, this is a Cardinals team or defense that was taking some shots last week in Washington. And, kind of feels like they might have been targeting Saquon or got pissed at Saquon and tried to hurt him. I don't know. Shouldn't have been in the game. It looked so bad live and on the replays. And I'm like, that could be a season ender. I mean, I don't, it just could be. It looked hell of a lot worse than anything he suffered in 2019, in 2020, in 2021. I mean, tore his goddamn ACL in 2020. Didn't look that bad. 2021, he had a couple freakish accidents where he twists his ankle. Nothing where he had a full ass man just like bending backwards and just put all his weight landing on Saquon's leg. And so the MRIs came back. No fractures or anything like that. Sprained ankle, not a high ankle sprain, which he had in 2019, I think, and maybe even again, and expected to miss 3 weeks. And then Daboll gets up at the podium and it's like, yeah, he's surprised me. He surprised a lot of people in terms of how he looks. We expected him to be worse. And so now all these people it's for clicks and engagement. I get it. Are saying that has a chance to play Thursday night, which is just stupid and outrageous. Bretterson did not practice. He has a concussion. I doubt he plays, which stinks. Micah McFadden's limited with a neck. Azeez Ojulari limited with a hamstring. Wan'Dale Robinson limited with a knee. Andrew Thomas limited practice with a hamstring. So the expectation, I guess, from everyone is that Thomas is going to play. There's a chance that Wan'Dale Robinson plays. I don't know about Azeez Ojulari, but friggin' A, dude. Azeez Ojulari cannot stay on the field and cannot stay healthy. Did not play against the Cardinals. I don't know if he'll play against the 49ers. It feels like at this point they might consider him as trade bait. I don't know. Like, it's just tough. He puts up great numbers when he's healthy, but just can't shake the injury bug. So it'd be nice to get Wan'Dale back. I just don't want to rush anyone back. It's like I'd rather just have everyone get healthy, just get fully healthy, and hopefully we can just hang tight and survive and stay in the hunt. I don't think there's a point in rushing Barkley back for this game. And if Andrew Thomas isn't 100%, I don't know that you want him to retweak and hurt that hamstring. It's like if Wan'Dale's not 100%, don't friggin' dress him. These guys try to come back to make an impact and make a difference, and they try to overextend themselves and they get re-hurt. So it's like, just let them heal up.